Breaking news. Honda just sent shockwaves through the auto industry. The CEO has officially unveiled a brand new SUV with a starting price of just $22,000, and the industry is in total disbelief. At a time when car prices are climbing higher and families are being priced out of the market, Honda just dropped what looks like the biggest game changer of the decade. This isn't just another crossover, it's a direct attack on competitors who've been hiking up prices and forcing customers into $40,000 plus vehicles. Honda is saying loud and clear, affordable cars are back. The buzz around this SUV isn't just about the price tag. What's really turning heads is how much Honda managed to pack into it without making it feel like a stripped-down budget ride. According to the details shared by Honda's top brass, this SUV comes with advanced safety features, hybrid efficiency options, and modern tech that rivals vehicles nearly double its price. And the styling. Sleek, sharp, and unmistakably Honda. This doesn't look like a bargain car, it looks like something people will be proud to drive. Industry insiders are already calling this a wake-up call for automakers like Toyota, Hyundai, and even Tesla, because it's proof that you can make an affordable SUV without sacrificing quality. For years, critics have been saying entry-level cars are dead, but Honda just proved them wrong. With this $22,000 SUV, they're not just filling a gap in the market, they're blowing the doors wide open for millions of buyers who've been waiting for a real option. And here's where things get even more interesting. Honda's CEO hinted that this SUV isn't just about sales, it's about strategy. By re-establishing dominance in the affordable market, Honda is positioning itself to capture an entirely new wave of customers who may have otherwise gone to rivals. Imagine this, families upgrading from used cars to a brand new Honda SUV at a price that's actually within reach. That's the kind of move that can reshape the industry overnight, and competitors are scrambling right now to figure out how to respond. Analysts are already warning that this launch could spark a full-on price war in the SUV market. Think about it. If Honda can deliver a stylish, safe, and fuel-efficient SUV for just $22,000, what excuse do other automakers have for charging nearly double? Customers are going to start asking tough questions, and brands that built their reputation on value may suddenly find themselves exposed. Hyundai and Kia, for example, have been riding high on competitive pricing, but Honda may have just undercut them in the most brutal way possible. But it's not just about traditional rivals. Even Tesla, which has dominated headlines with its push for EVs, has to be paying attention.
Why?
Because this Honda SUV comes at a moment when the electric vehicle market is cooling down, and buyers are swinging back toward affordable, practical gasoline and hybrid options. With many families struggling to justify a $40,000 plus EV, especially without strong charging networks, Honda is swooping in with the perfect alternative. It's a reminder that the EV transition isn't the only game in town, and the companies that ignored affordability might be in serious trouble. Early leaks suggest Honda has designed this SUV with both gas and hybrid versions, giving customers flexibility while keeping the base price shockingly low. That's a massive strategic advantage. While competitors like Toyota's RAV4 Hybrid or Hyundai's Tucson Hybrid push into the $30,000 to $35,000 range, Honda is dangling a hybrid option that could come in under $25,000. That changes the entire value equation and could force rival brands to slash prices or risk losing their most budget-conscious buyers. And let's talk about timing. This reveal couldn't have come at a more perfect moment. Car loan interest rates are still high, inventories are stacked up at dealerships, and consumers are sick of inflated prices. People have been holding off on buying new cars, waiting for something affordable to hit the market. Honda just answered that call. Dealers are already reporting a surge in customer inquiries, and insiders claim pre-orders could skyrocket once the official release date is announced. This SUV isn't just another product launch, it feels like a turning point. It's Honda planting its flag and saying, "We're bringing sanity back to car prices." And if that message resonates, we could be witnessing the start of a massive reshuffling of the automotive landscape. Dealerships across the U.S. are already buzzing, and some industry insiders are calling this the most aggressive Honda play in over a decade. Sales reps know one thing very clearly. When customers walk onto the lot and see a brand new, fully equipped Honda SUV at $22,000, it becomes almost impossible to justify paying thousands more for a competitor. That kind of showroom power can completely flip dealership dynamics, especially in a market where inventory has been sitting untouched because of sky-high prices. Dealers are practically salivating at the thought of foot traffic returning in waves, and that alone could breathe new life into Honda's U.S. operations. Consumer reaction so far has been nothing short of electric. Social media is flooded with buyers who've been priced out of the market saying things like, "Finally, a car company that gets it." Families that were saving for used vehicles are suddenly considering going new, and younger drivers, especially Gen Z, are looking at this SUV as an entry point into Honda ownership. Affordability isn't just a selling point here, it's a cultural reset. Honda is effectively telling consumers, you don't have to go broke to buy a new car, and that message is striking a nerve across every demographic. Wall Street, on the other hand, is watching this with cautious optimism. On one side, analysts see massive upside for Honda's global sales numbers if demand surges as expected. On the other side, they're wondering how thin Honda's margins might be on a vehicle priced this aggressively. But here's the twist: Honda's strategy may not be about immediate profits at all. By flooding the market with an affordable SUV, Honda could win long-term loyalty, locking in customers who will later upgrade to higher trims, hybrids, or even future electric Hondas. That's a playbook Toyota used decades ago with the Corolla, and it worked to perfection. Globally, the ripple effects could be even bigger. Imagine this SUV landing not just in the US but in emerging markets across Asia, South America, and Africa. These are regions where affordability dictates dominance, and a $22,000 SUV could completely crush less established rivals. Countries that have been relying on used imports might finally see a new, reliable, brand-backed alternative. That's where Honda's global strength really kicks in, because few automakers have the production scale to pull something like this off. And here's the kicker: competitors can't just copy this overnight. Re-engineering supply chains, cutting production costs, and scaling at Honda's level takes years. So, while Toyota, Hyundai, and even Ford might scramble to adjust, Honda has just given itself a massive head start. Honda's CEO made it crystal clear, this SUV isn't just about the present, it's about setting the stage for the future. By pulling customers in with a $22,000 price tag, Honda is essentially creating a bridge from today's gas and hybrid buyers to tomorrow's EV owners. Think about it. Once someone buys into Honda with this SUV, they're far more likely to stay with the brand when they're ready for a plug-in hybrid or a fully electric model down the road. This is Honda playing the long game, securing loyalty now so they can dominate later. What's fascinating is how this SUV fits perfectly into Honda's electrification roadmap. The company has already announced joint ventures with battery suppliers and hinted at affordable EVs in the pipeline. But they also know EV adoption has been slowing because of high prices and charging headaches. So instead of forcing buyers into EVs before the infrastructure is ready, Honda is offering a smart middle step, a low-cost SUV with hybrid options. That way, customers get fuel efficiency and modern tech without the range anxiety or the massive upfront costs of going electric. It's a strategy built on patience, and it could give Honda a huge advantage over rivals who bet everything on EVs too early. This move also reinforces Honda's image as a brand for everyday people, not just for the wealthy elite. Tesla might be chasing luxury margins and Ford might be locked in a truck war, but Honda is carving out a massive chunk of the market that everyone else seems to have ignored: the millions of buyers who just want something reliable, affordable, and future-proof. By positioning this SUV as both practical today and aligned with tomorrow's tech, Honda is effectively saying, we're here for the long haul, and we're not leaving anyone behind. Behind the scenes, suppliers are reportedly gearing up for huge demand, and that's where Honda's scale becomes its secret weapon. Few automakers can pivot production this aggressively while still keeping quality high, but Honda has decades of experience balancing affordability with reliability. If they can maintain their reputation for long-lasting vehicles while hitting this new price point, competitors are going to find themselves in a very tight corner. And make no mistake, the shockwaves aren't just going to hit automakers. Oil companies, EV charging networks, and even governments pushing aggressive EV mandates are watching closely. Because if millions of people suddenly flock to an affordable hybrid SUV, that could slow down the EV transition timeline in ways regulators didn't anticipate. Honda may have just altered the pace of the entire industry shift, simply by giving consumers what they've been asking for all along: choice at a fair price. Governments are already feeling the pressure from Honda's bold move. For years, regulators in the US and Europe have been pushing consumers hard toward EV adoption, offering tax credits, incentives, and strict emissions rules. But now, with Honda dropping a $22,000 SUV that undercuts not only EVs but even many gas competitors, policymakers are stuck in a tricky position. On one hand, They can't ignore the fact that millions of families will jump at the chance to buy something this affordable. On the other hand, it could slow down their aggressive EV timelines, creating political debates about whether affordability should outweigh electrification speed. Unions are also watching this development very closely. The auto industry has been locked in a tug-of-war with labor groups over plant closures, EV job transitions, and wage battles. If Honda's SUV becomes a runaway hit, it could shift the conversation entirely. Suddenly, the focus isn't just about protecting high-paying union jobs tied to expensive EV production. It's about making sure workers can keep up with surging demand for affordable vehicles. That could reignite discussions about where these cars are built, whether jobs stay in North America, and how workers can share in the benefits of what could be a blockbuster launch. The media, meanwhile, is in overdrive. Headlines are everywhere, painting this SUV as a potential savior for middle-class car buyers. Financial outlets are running hot takes on what this means for Wall Street, while automotive journalists are calling it the biggest product reveal since Ford announced the original Mustang. On social platforms, the conversation is exploding. Some users are cheering Honda as the only automaker that finally listened to consumers, while others are skeptical, asking whether a $22,000 SUV can really deliver on quality, safety, and technology. This debate is fueling even more attention, which is exactly what Honda wants: free marketing on a global scale. And let's not forget the political angle. In Washington, lawmakers who have been criticized for ignoring working-class struggles with rising costs of living now see a golden talking point. Expect politicians to use this SUV as proof that the market can deliver solutions without government overreach. At the same time, environmental groups are worried it could stall EV adoption momentum, which could spark clashes on Capitol Hill. Honda didn't just launch a car, they lit a match under an already tense policy battlefield. Globally, the story is even bigger. Developing nations where affordability is king may embrace this SUV as a symbol of mobility for the masses. Governments in Asia and Africa, often struggling with the cost of modernizing fleets, could view this as a breakthrough vehicle that balances price, efficiency, and reliability. That gives Honda an edge not just in the US but across entire continents, shifting the balance of automotive power. Rival automakers are in full scramble mode, and the reactions are as dramatic as you'd expect. Behind closed doors, executives at Toyota, Hyundai, Ford, and even GM are holding emergency meetings, trying to figure out how to respond to Honda's $22,000 shocker. The problem? None of them are truly prepared for a price war at this level. Most of their compact and mid-size SUVs start well above $28,000, and slashing prices overnight would devastate their already razor-thin profit margins. But if they don't react, Honda could eat up huge chunks of market share before they even know what hit them. Toyota in particular has the most to lose. For decades, the RAV4 has been the benchmark in the compact SUV space, but its pricing has slowly crept higher, leaving an opening for Honda to strike. Analysts are already saying Toyota may be forced to bring back stripped-down trims or accelerate development of lower-cost models just to compete. Hyundai and Kia, which have been thriving on offering value-packed SUVs, are suddenly staring at a competitor that undercut their entire strategy in one bold move. Even Ford, which has leaned heavily on trucks and crossovers, risks losing buyers who can no longer justify stretching their budgets when Honda is offering more for less. And then there's Tesla. Elon Musk has long promised a so-called affordable $25,000 EV, but it's still stuck in development limbo. Honda's SUV just made that timeline even more painful for Tesla. Consumers who were holding out for an inexpensive Tesla may decide not to wait anymore. Why sit on the sidelines when Honda is offering a brand new SUV, available now, with a price that beats Tesla's future promises? This is a PR nightmare for Musk, and it could force Tesla to accelerate its cheapest models or risk losing relevance in the entry-level market. We may even see automakers turn to governments for help. Don't be surprised if lobbying ramps up in Washington, Brussels, and Tokyo, with competitors quietly pushing for stricter emission standards or higher safety requirements that could make it harder for Honda to keep its SUV at $22,000. When you disrupt the industry this hard, rivals won't just fight in the showrooms, they'll fight in the regulatory arena too. At the same time, there's the very real possibility of a global ripple effect. Chinese automakers, who have been aggressively expanding with budget-friendly EVs, are suddenly staring down a new competitor on their own turf. They've been winning customers with low prices and flashy features, But Honda's worldwide reputation for quality and reliability adds a whole new level of competition. It could even trigger a pricing showdown between Honda and China's rising brands, with consumers being the ultimate winners. And here's the wild card: legacy automakers might be forced into partnerships or drastic strategy shifts just to keep up. Imagine Ford or GM having to dust off smaller, cheaper SUV projects they shelved years ago, or Toyota doubling down on hybrid affordability instead of focusing so heavily on higher trims. Honda may have just forced the entire auto industry into a reset that nobody saw coming. Honda's brand identity is already undergoing a transformation thanks to this SUV. For years, Honda has been respected for reliability and practicality, but not necessarily for shaking up the market. That just changed overnight. This $22,000 SUV positions Honda not only as a safe choice, but as a bold innovator willing to challenge industry norms. Suddenly, Honda looks less like the cautious, conservative brand people took for granted, and more like a market disruptor rewriting the rules of the game. And once consumers see this SUV on the road, expectations across the entire auto market will shift. Buyers who used to accept $35,000 as the normal entry point for a decent SUV will now start demanding more for less. Why should they settle for overpriced trims and bloated sticker tags when Honda proved it can be done differently? This is where the real damage to competitors begins, not just losing sales, but losing consumer trust. People won't look at $30,000 SUVs the same way again, and that psychological shift could be devastating for brands stuck in the old pricing model. If this SUV succeeds, and all signs point to it becoming a blockbuster, Honda may have triggered a permanent reset in the industry. Think about it like the Model T moment of the modern era. When Ford first mass-produced cars at a price ordinary people could afford, it didn't just sell millions of vehicles, it reshaped society. Honda's SUV could do something similar for this generation by redefining affordability at a time when people feel priced out of everything from homes to groceries. This car might not just be transportation, it could become a symbol of economic sanity. Even outside the auto industry, ripple effects will spread. Car insurance companies will adjust to a new flood of budget-friendly new vehicles on the road. Banks and lenders may revise loan structures because suddenly, customers don't need massive financing for an entry-level SUV. Used car prices, already falling, could collapse further as buyers ditch second-hand models for a brand-new Honda that doesn't cost much more. This SUV is more than just a product. It's a market reset button that could ripple into every corner of the automotive ecosystem. And what happens when competitors finally start to respond? Prices will drop across the board. Consumers could soon see an entire wave of affordable SUVs from different brands, all sparked by Honda's decision to step forward first. That means this one launch doesn't just shake the market today, it sets the new standard for tomorrow. The impact on the used car market could be seismic. For the past few years, used vehicles have been selling at absurd prices, sometimes just a few thousand less than brand new models. Buyers put up with it because they felt trapped. New cars were simply too expensive. But now, with Honda delivering a shiny new SUV at $22,000, the logic of buying used starts to crumble. Why spend $18,000 on a 5-year-old SUV with 60,000 miles when, for a little more, you can drive off the lot with something brand new under warranty? Analysts are already warning that used car values could plummet, especially for compact and mid-size SUVs that now look grossly overpriced compared to Honda's offering. Dealership strategies will also be flipped upside down. For years, dealers have relied on upselling higher trims, extended warranties, and overpriced add-ons to make margins work. But with a vehicle this affordable bringing in waves of foot traffic, the game changes. The sheer volume of buyers could make up for slimmer margins, and dealers know it. Expect to see Honda showrooms packed with families, first-time buyers, and even retirees looking for value in a market that had all but abandoned them. The success of this SUV could inspire Honda dealers to retool their entire sales approach around accessibility and trust, something that could give them a massive edge in customer satisfaction scores. Culturally, this SUV might spark something even bigger, a reset in how people view car ownership itself. For too long, cars have been drifting into luxury territory, with automakers pushing the idea that you need to spend $40,000 to $50,000 for something decent. Honda is rejecting that narrative. They're reminding people that a car doesn't have to be a financial burden. It can be affordable, practical, and stylish without draining your bank account. This could resonate deeply with younger generations who are skeptical of debt and tired of inflated costs across every aspect of life. If owning a brand new SUV suddenly feels attainable again, it could reignite excitement about driving and even shift cultural attitudes toward mobility. What's more, the ripple effect might not stop at Honda.